الرحمن الرحيم عن جابر بن عبد الله الأنصاري عن فاطمة الزهراء عليها السلام بنت رسول الله صلى الله عليه وآله وسلم قال سمعت فاطمة أنها قالت دخل علي أبي رسول الله في بعض الأيام فقال السلام عليك يا فاطمة فقلت عليك السلام قال إني أجد في بدني ضعفا فقلت له أعيذك بالله يا أبتاه من الضعف فقال يا فاطمة ائتيني بالكساء اليماني فغطيني به فأتيته بالكساء اليماني فغطيته به وصرت أنظر إليه وإذا وجهه يتلى لو كأنه البدر في ليلة تمام وكماله فما كانت إلا ساعة وإذا بولد الحسن عليه السلام قد أقبل وقال السلام عليك يا أمه فقلت وعليك السلام يا قرة عيني وثمرة فؤادي فقال يا أماه إني أشم عندك رائحة طيبة كأنها رائحة جد رسول الله صلى الله عليه وآله فقلت نعم إن جدك تحت الكساء فأقبل الحسن نحو الكساء فقال السلام عليك يا جداه يا رسول الله تأذن لي أن أدخل معك تحت الكساء فقال وعليك السلام يا ولدي ويا صاحب حوضي قد أذنت لك فدخل معه تحت الكساء فما كانت إلا ساعة وإذا بولدي الحسين عليه السلام قد أقبل وقال السلام عليك يا أمه فقلت وعليك السلام يا قرة عيني وثمرة فؤادي فقال لي يا أماه إني أشم عندك رائحة طيبة كأنها رائحة جد رسول الله فقلت نعم إن جدك وأخاك تحت الكساء فدنا الحسين نحو الكساء وقال السلام عليك يا جداه السلام عليك يا من اختاره الله وتأذن لي أن أكون معكم تحت الكساء فقال وعليك السلام يا ولدي ويا شافع أمتي قد أذنت لك فدخل معهما تحت الكساء فأقبل عند ذلك أبو الحسن علي بن أبي طالب وقال السلام عليك يا بنت رسول الله فقلت وعليك السلام يا أبا الحسن ويا أمير المؤمنين فقال يا فاطمة إني أشم عندك رائحة طيبة كأنها رائحة أخي وابن عم رسول الله فقلت نعم ها هو مع ولديك تحت الكساء فأقبل علي نحو الكساء وقال السلام عليك يا رسول الله يتأذن لي أن أكون معكم تحت الكساء قال وعليك السلام يا أخي ويا وصي وخليفتي وصاحب لواء قد أذنت لك فدخل علي تحت الكساء ثم أتيت نحو الكساء وقلت السلام عليك يا أبتاه يا رسول الله أتأذن لي أن أكون معكم تحت الكساء قال وعليك السلام يا بنتي ويا بضعتي قد أذنت لك فدخلت تحت الكساء فلما اكتملنا جميعا تحت الكساء أخذ برسول الله بطرفي الكساء وأومأ بيده اليمنى إلى السماء وقال اللهم إن هؤلاء أهل بيتي وخاصتي وحامتي لحمهم لحمي ودمهم دمي يؤلمني ما يؤلمهم ويحزنني ما يحزنهم أنا حرب لمن حاربهم وسلم لمن سالمهم وعدو لمن عاداهم ومحب لمن أحبهم إنهم مني وأنا منهم فاجعل صلواتك وبركاتك ورحمتك وغفرانك ورضوانك علي وعليهم واذب عنهم الرجس وطهرهم تطهيرا
اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد وعجل فرجهم.
قال الله عز وجل يا ملائكتي ويا سكان سماواتي إني ما خلقت سماء مبنية ولا أرضا مضحية ولا قمرا منيرا ولا شمسا مضية ولا فلكا يدور ولا بحرا يجري ولا فلكا يسري إلا في محبة هؤلاء الخمسة الذين هم تحت الكساء فقال الأمين جبرائيل يا ربي ومن تحت الكساء فقال عز وجل هم أهل بيت نبوتي ومعدن الرسالة هم فاطمة وأبوها وبعلها وبنوها فقال جبرائيل يا رب يتأذن لي أن أهبط إلى الأرض ليكون معهم سادسا فقال الله نعم قد أذنت لك فهبط الأمين جبرائيل وقال السلام عليك يا رسول الله أنا علي أعلى يقرأك السلام ويخصك بالتحية والإكرام ويقول لك وعزتي وجلالي إني ما خلقت سماء مبنية ولا أرض مضحية ولا قمر منير ولا شمس مضية ولا فلك يدور ولا بحر يجري ولا فلك يسري إلا لأجلكم ومحبتكم وقد أذن لي أن أدخل معكم فهل تأذن لي يا رسول الله؟ فقال رسول الله وعليك السلام يا أمين وحي الله إنه نعم قد أذنت لك. فدخل جبرائيل معنا تحت الكساء فقال لي بأن الله قد أوحى إليكم يقول إنما يريد الله ليذهب عنكم رجس أهل البيت ويطهركم تطهيرا.
اللهم صل على محمد وعلى محمد وعجل فرجهم.
فقال علي لأبي يا رسول الله أخبرني ما لجلوسنا هذا تحت الكساء من الفضل عند الله. فقال النبي صلى الله عليه وآله والذي بعثني بالحق نبيا واصطفاني بالرسالة نجيا ما ذكر خبرنا هذا في محفل من محافل أهل الأرض وفيه جمع من شيعتنا ومحبينا إلا ونزلت عليهم الرحمة وحفت بهم الملائكة واستغفرت لهم إلى أن يتفرقوا. فقال علي عليه السلام إذا والله فزنا وفاز شيعتنا رب الكعبة. فقال أبي رسول الله صلى الله عليه وآله يا علي والذي بعثني بالحق نبيا واصطفاني بالرسالة نجيا ما ذكر خبرنا هذا في محفل من محافل أهل الأرض وفيه جمع من شيعتنا ومحبينا وفيه مهموم لله وفرج الله همه ولا مغموم لله وكشف الله غمه ولا طالب حاجة لله وقضى الله حاجته. فقال علي عليه السلام إذا والله فزنا وسعدنا وكذلك شيعتنا فازوا وسعدوا في الدنيا والآخرة ورب الكعبة.
اللهم صل على محمد وعلى محمد وعجل فرجهم. مجري خلق میں مجري خلق میں ان آنکھوں نے کیا کیا دیکھا پر کہیں سے پیمبر سنا آقا دیکھا مجرئی خلق میں نے دیکھا عالم شاہ کو آلود خون میں نے دیکھا عالم شاہ کو آلود خون میں نے عباس کو بے جان لب دریا دیکھا مجرئی خلق میں نے دیکھا علی اصغر کا گلا خون میں تر میں نے دیکھا علی اصغر کا گلا خون میں تر میں نے زخمی علی اکبر کا کلیجہ دیکھا ایک گٹھڑی شاہدین پشت پہ لائے اس میں نے ٹکڑے ہوئے قاسم کا سراپا دیکھا مجھ رہی خلق میں بیردا خلق نے اس بیوی کے سر کو دیکھا بیردا خلق نے اس بیوی کے سر کو دیکھا جس کی مادر کا کسی نے نہ جنازہ دیکھا مجھ رہی خلق میں کہتی تھی زینب مزدر کہ خدا خیر کرے کہتی تھی زینب مزدر کہ خدا خیر کرے رات کو خواب میں اریاں سر زہرا دیکھا مجھ رہی خلق میں ان آنکھوں نے کیا کیا دیکھا مجھ رہی خلق میں
اللہم صلی اللہ محمد اللہم صلی اللہ محمد اللہم صلی اللہ محمد
اللہم صلی علی محمد وآل محمد وعجل فرج
کچھ ہندو شعراء ہیں ایک تو دھنپت رائے ہیں اور ایک چنو لال دلگیر ہیں چنو لال دلگیر وہ ہیں جنہوں نے لوہا لکھا ہے گھبرائی جی رہنے
اچھا
جی تو ان حضرات کے میں کچھ اشعار پیش کر رہا ہوں ان کا شعر ہے در حسین پہ ملتے ہیں ہر خیال کے لوگ در حسین پہ ملتے ہیں ہر خیال کے لوگ یہ اتحاد کا مرکز ہے آدمی کے لیے اور ایک خدا ہے جس نے تقسیم کیا جوہر و حسین یہ کچھ ہندو شعراء کا کلام میں سنا رہا ہوں پہلا شعر ہے یہ ایک شاعر ہیں چھنو لال دلگیر، گھبرائے کی زینب انہی کا لکھا ہوا ہے. تو ان کا شعر ہے، در حسین پہ ملتے ہیں ہر خیال کے لوگ.
در حسین پہ ملتے ہیں ہر خیال. ماشاء اللہ.
یہ اتحاد کا مرکز ہے آدمی کے لیے. انہوں نے کہا حسین ایسی شخصیت ہے جنہوں نے تمام ہندو مسلمان عیسائی سکھ سب کو ایک پلیٹ فارم پہ لے آیا. پھر انہوں نے کہا کہ جس نے تقسیم کیا تھا جوہر وہ حسین ہے. جس نے تقسیم کیا تھا جوہر وہ حسین، آج تک جس کی حکومت ہے دلوں پر وہ حسین ہے. جس نے تقسیم کیا تھا جوہر وہ حسین، آج تک جس کی دلوں پر ہے حکومت وہ حسین. چن کے لایا تھا مجاہد جو 72 وہ حسین ہے. چن کے لایا تھا 72 جو مجاہد وہ حسین. سرخ رو جس سے ہوا دین منور وہ حسین. چن کے لایا تھا مجاہد جو 72 وہ حسین. سرخ رو جس سے ہوا دین منور وہ حسین. اور یہ ایک قطعہ اور ہے، زین علی تھی حیدر کرار بن گئی. زین علی تھی حیدر کرار بن گئی. عباس کی بہن تھی علمدار بن گئی.
عباس کی بہن تھی
علمدار بن گئی. زین علی تھی حیدر کرار بن گئی. عباس کی بہن تھی علمدار بن گئی. بیعت طلب یزید ہوا جب کہ روبرو. بیعت طلب یزید ہوا جب کہ روبرو. بنت حسین حسین کا انکار بن گئی. بنت علی حسین کا انکار بن گئی. بیعت طلب یزید ہوا جب کہ روبرو. بنت علی حسین کا انکار بن گئی. یہ ایک سلامی جو میں نے بھی محرم میں لکھا تھا. غم حسین ہے ایک تازگی چھپائے ہوئے. غم حسین ہے ایک تازگی چھپائے ہوئے. ہمیشہ چلتا ہے یہ اپنا سر اٹھائے ہوئے. غم حسین ہے ایک تازگی چھپائے ہوئے. یعنی ہر سال تازہ ہو جاتا ہے پہلے سے زیادہ. ہمیشہ چلتا ہے یہ اپنا سر اٹھائے ہوئے. حسینی فکر کا یہ معجزہ بھی کم تو نہیں. حسینی فکر کا یہ معجزہ بھی کم تو نہیں کہ ہر چلا آیا تھا سر جھکائے ہوئے. کہ ہر چلا آیا تھا سر جھکائے ہوئے. عجب تھا شان رسالت کا کچھ کرم ان پر. عجب تھا شان رسالت کا کچھ کرم ان پر. رسول پاک تھے کاندھوں پہ جب بٹھائے ہوئے. عجب تھا شان رسالت کا کچھ کرم ان پر. رسول پاک تھے کاندھوں پہ جب اٹھائے ہوئے. علی و فاطمہ کے دل کے چین ہیں دونوں. علی و فاطمہ کے دل کے چین ہیں دونوں. جو راہ حق میں کھڑے تھے قدم جمائے ہوئے. جو راہ حق میں کھڑے تھے قدم جمائے ہوئے. اور ملائکہ کی سلامی ہے اس گھرانے پر. ملائکہ کی سلامی ہے اس گھرانے پر. امام ہیں یہ خداوند کے بنائے ہوئے. امام ہیں یہ خداوند کے بنائے ہوئے. اور حسینیت کا ہے پرچم کھلا ہوا ہر سو. حسینیت کا ہے پرچم کھلا ہوا ہر سو، یزید کیا ہوئے لشکر تیرے بلائے ہوئے، یزید کیا ہوئے لشکر تیرے بلائے ہوئے، اور غم حسین ہے ایک تازگی چھپائے ہوئے، وہ ہمیشہ چلتا ہے یہ اپنا سر اٹھائے ہوئے۔
اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد وعجل فرجهم.
السلام علیکم۔
اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد وعجل فرجهم. اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد وعجل فرجهم. اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد وعجل فرجهم.
وجل فرجهم۔
لا حول ولا قوة إلا بالله العلي العظيم. أعوذ بالله من الشيطان اللعين الرجيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. الحمد لله الذي هدانا لهذا وما كنا لنهتدي لولا أن هدانا الله. لقد جاءت رسول ربنا بالحق. الصلاة والسلام على جميع الأنبياء والمرسلين، خاتم النبيين، شفيع المذنبين، رحمة للعالمين، طه وياسين، سيدنا ونبينا حبيبنا طبيب نفوسنا، على النبي الأمي البدر الجني الكوكب الدري البشير والنذير، الرسول المسدد العشير الممجد المصطفى الأمجد، حبيب إله العالمين أبي القاسم محمد.
اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد وعجل فرجهم.
وعلى إمام المطهر والشجاع الغزنفر خاصم توبا وسخر أبي شبير وشبر خالي باب خيبر، حامل اللواء الحمد يوم المحشر، مظهر العجائب ومظهر الغرائب، الذي حبه فرز على الحاضر والغائب، إمام المشرقين وإمام المغربين، سيد الكونين، أبي مولى الثقلين، أمير المؤمنين علي ابن أبي طالب.
اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد وعجل فرجهم.
وعلى أهل بيته الطيبين الطاهرين المعصومين المظلومين، ولعنة الله على أعدائهم أجمعين من يومنا هذا إلى يوم الدين. أما بعد، فقد قال الله سبحانه وتعالى في محكم كتاب المجيد والفرقان الحميد. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. الله ولي الذين آمنوا يخرجهم من الظلمات إلى النور، والذين كفروا أولياؤهم الطاغوت يخرجونهم من النور إلى الظلمات، أولئك أصحاب النار هم فيها خالدون.
اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد وعجل فرجهم.
فرجهم۔ ماشاء اللہ۔
Allah in the Quran, Surah Al-Baqarah, mentions that He is the wali of those who believe. Allahu waliyul lazina amanu. He is the wali of those who believe. And what does He do? Yukhrijuhum min az-zulumati ila an-nur. He brings them out of the darkness, out of the zulumat, into the light. Let us take a closer look at the word wali. What does it mean? And how much should we know about wali? In what terms should we understand the word wali? When Allah says that I am the wali of mu'min. The wali here, Allah is the wali. Wali means guardian. Wali means the one who has authority. When you look at the translation, there are numerous terms that are used here. Some say wali means friend. Some say wali means helper. Some say wali means protector and guardian. but we need to identify in what means and in what is the purpose of the word wali in this ayah. Wali, Allah says, I am the wali of those who believe. That means Allah has the authority. If we go more closer and we think about it, we analyze and we ponder on this word, which means when Allah says, I am the wali, it means that Allah is saying, I have authority over those who believe. How much authority does Allah have on those who believe in Him? This is something that we need to understand. How much authority does Allah have? There are the two types of authorities, the two types of wilayah. Wilayat takwiniya and wilayat tashriya. That means Allah has ascribed Himself with two wilayahs. Takwiniya is the wilayah that is concerned with the creation and with which Allah creates the universe, Allah destroys it, Allah disposes His creation, and it is with which He creates anything and He destroys anything as He pleases. That's wilayat takwiniya. Example is when Allah wants to create something, وَإِذَا أَرَادَ شَيْئًا أَنْ يَقُولَ لَهُ كُنْ فَيَكُنْ. When He intends to create something, He says, happen, or be it, and it happens. That is takwiniya. The wilayat tashriya is what concern with the affairs of the believers. What are the affairs of the believers? Their guidance, help, advice. It concerns with the wilayat tashriya. Allah is the one who provides guidance. He is the one who provides help. He is the one who deals with the legislation and the laws of the Islam. He is the one who helps the believers. That's wilayat tashriya. And that is the wilayah that Allah is saying in this ayah, I am your wali, in terms, I have the authority over you. I am the one who is going to bring you out of the darkness and move you towards the light. Now let us analyze the word wali. How much authority does Allah have? If it wasn't for Allah, our hearts won't be beating in our chest. If it wasn't for His will, our hearts won't be beating in our chest. If it wasn't for His will, the soul in our body wouldn't stay there. If it wasn't for His will, our body will not be breathing. If it wasn't for His will, the advancement of technology wouldn't happen. If it wasn't for His will, there won't be streams of water flowing. If it wasn't for His will, the boats cannot stand on the water. If it wasn't for His will, I won't be speaking. If it wasn't for His will, we won't be gathering. Everything that happens in this universe is because of His will. He wants. Because of His will, because of His mansha, because of His insha. Everything happens in this world is because of Allah's will. And this is the Allah's will that holds the whole universe together. It is running, the whole system is running. If it wasn't for His will, the whole system would collapse. If He intends to collapse, if He intends to destroy the universe He has created, it's gonna go away. It's going to be destroyed, and eventually that's where everybody is going to return. All the creation towards the Qiyamah is going to return. Allah is the wali of mu'mineen. What it means is that we submit ourselves to Allah, imagining and understanding what authority Allah has on us. As believers, we need to submit ourselves to the will of Allah. We need to submit ourselves unconditionally, without any condition, without any hesitation, submitting ourselves to Allah. What does it mean? Submitting to Allah doesn't mean by accepting Islam, doesn't mean by accepting Iman. And there are levels of Iman in Islam, but that doesn't mean that we have submitted ourselves to Allah we submit ourselves to Allah at a time where we hand all of our affairs to Allah and say, Allah, now you are responsible for my affairs. Because we understand that Allah has that authority on us. We are His creation, we are His creatures, and Allah has the authority on us, and we hand our affairs to Allah. Any problem that we have, any affair that is dealing with the problems, whether it's with the materialistic world or if it's the spirituality. Looking at the ayah, that means that Allah is the one who moves from the darkness into the light, the one who have believed in Him. That means there are two lives running in parallel. The materialistic life that we live, we grow, we develop, we evolve. But there is the other life that is the life of spirituality. That is growing, but at a time, it is constant. It is sometimes growing, sometimes it's decreasing. The thing is, we don't see it. That is the spirituality and the materialistic life that is running in parallel. Now, when we ponder on it, it is our responsibility to understand the spirituality, and we submit ourselves to Allah without any condition, and we hand our affairs to Him, because Allah says, He sends a revelation on Janab Dawood and says, O Dawood, anyone among my servants who seeks protection from me, and I find it in his intention, no matter if the whole universe, the heavens and the earth and people living in them conspire against him, I am going to find a way for him to escape. And the one who is going to seek help from the creatures, and I find it in his intention. And guess what? Allah says, I am going to cut off the heavens, the earth, and everything, and I won't consider or won't be concerned how he perishes. Seeking protection of Allah by means of a zikr, by means of understanding, by convincing ourselves how much authority Allah has on us. And this is the meaning of wali. That's in these terms Allah is referring to Himself, ascribing Himself as wali of mu'mineen. Now what happens when you submit yourself to Allah? Allah is going to reward you back. Hal jazaa'ul ihsana illa al-ihsan. This is not ihsan, this is obedience, yet Allah is going to consider as rewarding back to us. In what way? He is going to show us guidance, the light, taking out from the darkness and moving us in the light to the believers. Now the ones who did not believe, their masters is Taghut. Taghut is their master. The one who is not from Allah, the one who are not appointed by Allah, are the masters of the darkness. They are going to misguide people. They're going to take them out of light and into the darkness. Let us think about these two sentences. One sentence is where Allah says, I am going to take believers out of darkness into light. And there is another sentence that says, the awliya Taghut, the masters of the Taghut, the masters of the darkness, is going to take out the ones from the light into the darkness who did not believe. Does it mean that when a believer is born, was he in the darkness? Or when the person who did not believe was actually in the light and he was taken into darkness? Can this happen? Or whether the light and darkness, are they just metaphors? Is just metaphorically saying the light and darkness, or they actually are referring to something that is real and is pertaining to our life? It can be a metaphor for what? Light means guidance, and the darkness refers to the misguidance. And then we have this. Thinking on this ayat and pondering upon it and analyzing, can a believer be born in darkness and Allah is the one who is going to guide him towards the light? Here is an example to simplify it. There is a room which is lit up by a bulb. Bright place. Now compare that bright place with a much brighter place. When you go from a bright place to a brighter place, you will see the difference in the light. Now you are in the brighter place, you will say, obviously, the room that has one lamp, it's still lighting up the room, is still darker than the room which is lit up with multiple lamps. Comparing that with that light of the sun. You're in the house, your house is lit up enough so you can read. When you step out in the sun, there is a difference between the light, the brightness. When you look at the light of the sun, it is much brighter. It has lit up the whole entire environment and the earth. And when you come inside your home, you see that it is dark, yet there is light. There is still. So when Allah says He is going to guide the person from the darkness into the light, refers to the light that everybody has at the time of their birth, which is the light, initial light, the fitra, the light of fitra. Everybody carries it. Even the ones who do not believe, they have the same light. But what happens is when you submit yourself to Allah, Allah is going to help you elevate, and Allah is going to help you move from one level to the other level. Now this level that you are moving into is much brighter. That's a brighter station. Now the station that you are at, the level that you were before, is less brighter. And that less brightness is because of the lack of knowledge, the ignorance that you had. When Allah guided you, Allah gave you knowledge, and you got knowledge, and you proceeded to the next level, and which is brighter. And that is what it means. It doesn't mean that a believer was born in darkness. No. Believer had the initial light. But when Allah guided that person, that light, the level of that light changed, and it's more superior now. The same thing happens with the one that did not believe in Allah. He had the light of fitra. But what happens is that he did not believe in Allah, and the ones who was not appointed by Allah, the one who misguided that person, has actually pushed him into much deeper darknesses. Even the light of fitrah that he has, he lost it and ended up in much darker place. That's what it means when Allah is going to guide mu'mineen into life out of darkness. This is the concept of life, which means that our life is not always at the same place. The change is constantly taking place. Whether it's our materialistic form or if it's the spiritual form. Everything is changing. This is the concept of life. Now let's dig deeper into it and identify why is this light necessary. The station that Allah has helped us progress to, what does this light do? In Quran, there is a place where it says, أَوَمَنْ كَانَ مَيْتًا فَأَحْيَيْنَاهُ وَجَعَلْنَا لَهُ نُورًا يَمْشِي بِهِ فِي النَّاسِ كَمَنْ مِثْلَهُ فِي الظُّلُمَاتِ لَيْسَ بِخَارِجٍ مِنْهَا. Is it like that? Is it not like that a person was dead and Allah gave him life, and He created a nur for him? With the help of that nur, the person started to walk among the people. Isn't he similar or equal to the one who is caught up in the darkness, in such a darkness from which he cannot leave. Allah is giving an example here that there is a person who's dead. Death for us is when a person is born and he lives on this earth for the term that Allah has chosen for him to live, and then he dies. That is death. After he's dead, everything is cut off. But there is another death that Allah is talking about here. A person is living, and he is still dead. Person is alive yet dead. That means the first death we were talking about is the death of the materialistic world. And the death that Allah is talking about is the death of the soul. The death of the soul, the death of the nafs, and the death of the person's spirituality. That's the bodily death. This is the spiritual death that Allah is talking about. He's alive. He's walking among people, yet he's dead. When we call a person dead, when a person doesn't have a purpose to live, he is cut off from all the affairs. He is living but dead. A dead person. But this way Allah says that person is living among you, but he's still dead because there is no purpose. He hasn't found his purpose yet. So what Allah did, Allah found him befitting for his blessing. He gave him life. فَهْيَيْنَاهُ. He gave him life. وَجَعَلْنَا لَهُ نُورًا يَمْشِي بِهِ فِي النَّاسِ. And he created a nur for him. And this is the nur of guidance that Allah created for him. With the nur, with the help of this nur, he is walking among the people. Now imagine what nur actually means. Nur means that nur gives life. Nur is life. Before nur, the person was dead. After he associated himself with the nur, the person is not entitled to be called alive. And what happens is he equal to the one who is living in the darkness, the one who is away from the blessings of Allah, and Allah hasn't bestowed his blessings upon him, and he is in Zulamat. This is the nur. Nur means the thing that gives life. Nur means guidance. Nur means life. And what exactly is this nur? Where is this nur? Where can we find this nur? And what more can this nur do? Please recite about Salah.
Allahumma salli ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad wa ajil faraj.
Haydari!
Ya Ali!
Haydari!
Ya Ali!
Let us take a look at these questions. Where can we find this nur that is guiding people, that is giving life to people, and life to the believers? And Allah is talking about the nur, the light that He is going to guide people towards. Now imagine people are not just the common people, the ones who has believed in Him, already believed, who has submitted themselves to Allah. Now Allah is rewarding them by directing them towards the nur. Quran says, Allahu nuru samawati wal ard. Allah is the nur of the heavens and the earth. Allahu nuru samawati wal ard. مثل نوره كمشكاة فيها مصباح المصباح في الزجاجة الزجاجة كأن كوكب الدري يوخذ من شجرة مباركة زيتونة لا شرقية ولا غربية يكاد زيته يضيء ولو لم تمسسه النار نور على نور. This is the nur that Allah is talking about in Quran. He gives an example of nur. First he says, I am the nur of the heavens and the earth. And the example of this nur is a lantern, in which a lamp is placed in its glass, And now this Noor is Kawkab Durri, which means a bright as shining star. And this lamp has the oil from the sacred tree of olive, which is La Sharqiyatin Wala Gharbiyatin. And the oil is from the tree of olive, which is not eastern, not western. La Sharqiyatin Wala Gharbiyatin. Yukadu Zaytuhu Yuziyu. And you see that this oil has caught fire when there has no fire close to it where it can catch it from. There wasn't any fire, nobody lit the oil, but the oil caught a fire. And there's Noorun ala Noor. Yahdi Allah li Noorihi man yasha. That means there is Noor upon Noor, and Allah is the one. Yahdi Allah li Noorihi. Allah is the one who guides people towards this Noor. This is Noor. This is the tafsir of Noor. This is the literal meaning of Noor. Now let us take a closer look and find out what is the ta'wil of this Noor that Allah is talking about. Imam says that the lantern and the lamp and the glass that Allah is talking about, the shining star refers to Janab Fatima Zahra. Salamullahi alayha. The shining star, Kawkab Durri, that Allah says in Quran is Janab Zahra. And the Zujaja and the glass is Imam Hassan, and the lamb Imam Hussein. This is the Noor that Allah is talking about, and Allah is the one who guides them towards this Noor. Let's step back and see. This is Noor, Janab Zahra, Imam Hassan and Imam Hussein, from where their root, the oil of their lamp is the root of Prophet Ibrahim. The oil is from the sacred tree of olive. That is Janab Ibrahim. La Sharqiyatin Wala Gharbiyatin. He is neither Christian nor he is Jew. La Sharqiyatin Wala Gharbiyatin. This is Prophet Ibrahim. He is not Christian nor a Jew, but from his family, you see prophets coming out, and they became the prophets of Jews. Janab Musa, and then Janab Isa. La Sharqiyatin Wala Gharbiyatin. Yahdi Allah li Noorihi man yasha. Allah is the one who guides them towards this Noor. Take a closer look at it. Allah is the one who is going to guide people towards this Noor. That means Allah does not guide every individual to this Noor. He does not let every individual to reach to this Noor, but the whom Allah founds that they are befitting to it. They're entitled to be guided towards this Noor, because this Noor is Pak. This Noor is Pak. This Noor is sacred. This Noor is Mubarak. And Noor upon Noor, that means one Imam after the other Imam. When one Imam leaves the earth, he appoints his successor, and that Imam is Noorun ala Noor. This is the chain on earth that Allah talks about Noor. Every time that Allah spoke about the Noor in Quran, Ya ayyuhan nas qad ja'akum burhanun min rabbikum wa anzalna ilaykum nuran mubin. O people, I have sent towards you my prophet and the book and the Noor. That means anytime there is a book revealing from Allah, Allah then says Noor with it. There is Kitab and there is Noor. That means Kitab and Noor are relative. They both cannot stay apart from each other. When as long as there is book on this earth, as long as Quran is on this earth, there is a nur that is descending from the skies, because Kitab is the Allah's book, which cannot be explained, which cannot be understood by people without the help of the Imam, who is the successor, who is entitled to explain this book, who has inherited the ilm of this book, the knowledge of this book. So anytime, for as long as there is book on this earth, then there has to be the nur to explain it. And that nur is the nur of Muhammad wa ali Muhammad, and it cannot go away from this earth. The time when this nur is going to leave this earth is going to collapse. Recite Allah.
Allahumma salli ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad wa ajil farajah.
MashaAllah, MashaAllah.
My dear brothers and elders, this is what Allah is talking about in this ayah. That He is the wali. He is the wali who has authority over everything, authority over the believers, that those who submitted themselves to Allah is the one who is guiding them out of darkness into the light. And this is a nur that Allah talks about. Allah is going to guide those, Yahdi Allah li nurihi man yasha. Allah will guide those who He chooses towards the nur, because they have submitted themselves to Allah. We need to get closer to Allah, attain His closeness, get closer to Allah, because this is what Allah wants us to hand over our affairs to Him, and He is going to take care of it. He is the best Lord. He is the best at taking care of the affairs. If a person thinks that I do not need Allah's help because I know my affairs well, I can run my affairs better than anybody else, then that person is misguiding himself. This is a misconception that he is talking about. No, Allah is the creator. He is the best. He is the best who is going to run the affairs for us. And submitting ourselves to Allah, He is the nur. Allah is the nur. Nurun ala nur. Allah is the nur. Qabla kulla nur, ba'da kulla nur. He is the nur and nur. And this is the nur that Allah is guiding towards. And that's the Ahlul Bayt that Allah is going to help believers go towards the Ahlul Bayt.
MashaAllah.
Dear brothers and elders, today let us remember the Shaheed in Karbala, who sacrificed his life towards the cause of Islam. In the history of Islam, there are two Shaheed that have given their lives in such a way that they lost their hands. Jafar al-Tayyar and Janab al-Fazl al-Abbas. And Allah has bestowed upon them His mercy and His blessings in a way that He has given them wings in the Jannah with which they fly. Janab al-Fazl al-Abbas, the brother of two Imams, the son of an Imam who's been raised by Janab al-Zayn. Imagine the knowledge he had, imagine the maqam he had, the position he held with knowledge, and the obedience he has shown towards the Ahlul Bayt. Janab Abbas, the commander of the Lashkar of Imam Hussein. In the Karbala, Janab Abbas kept coming to Imam Hussein and says, "Oh Mawla, let me go to the battlefield." Imam Hussein does not let him go. Why? Because Imam loves his brother dearly. Imam loves his brother and he couldn't see him dying. What happens is Janab Abbas sends his sons to the battlefield. He sacrifices his sons over Imam Hussein. He sacrifices his brother. He calls his brother and says, "Go fight when I am still alive. I want to see your obedience towards Allah." He sends his brothers to the battlefield and they sacrifice their life. And when there is nobody left, he comes to Imam Hussein and he says, "Oh Mawla, please let me go and fight." Imam says, "Oh Abbas, You are the Alamdar. You're the standard bearer of my lashkar and of my army. He said, Oh Mawla, what can I do when there is no army left? My chest is compressing, my Mawla. Please let me go and fight. There is nobody except myself and Ali Akbar. Imam Hussein says, Oh Abbas, if you insist, over you, or go ask Zainab because she has more authority over you. Janab Abbas enters the tent. He goes closer to Janab Zainab. He sat in front of her. He bows his head out of respect. Janab Zainab sees Janab Abbas and she understands that Abbas is here to say farewell. She asks, Oh Abbas, what is your intention? Janab Abbas says, O Shahzadi, O my princess, I want you seek your permission because Imam Hussein has sent me to seek your permission. I'm here to take your permission to go to battlefield. Janab Zainab hears this, and the women and the children in the tent hear this. So they heard that Abbas is going to the battlefield. All of them forms a circle around him. And when Janab Sakina comes and says, Oh uncle, oh Chacha Abbas, this thirst is killing us. Janab Abbas says, Oh Sakina, bring me the water skin, for I shall bring water for you. And everybody circles around him. When Janab Abbas is leaving the tent, Janab Zainab says, Oh Abbas, please wait for a few moments. Janab Abbas waits there, and Janab Zainab says, Oh Abbas, during the last moments, my father called me and he kissed my arms. I asked him, Oh Baba, why do you kiss my hands? He said, Zainab, there will be a time in Karbala that your arms will be tied and your chadar will be taken away. Abbas, I used to think when I have a brother like you, how can dare to tie my hands and take away my chadar? But now, Abbas, I'm assured that this is going to happen. Janab Abbas, out of the ghalam his whole body starts to shake, and he leaves the tent. He goes to Imam Hussein. Imam Hussein sees mashk in the alam, and he says, Oh brother Abbas, you have brought me such a thing that I cannot not let you go. Janab Abbas then mounts on the horse. Janab Abbas was called the Khamar Bani Hashim. He had immense height. When he sits on the horse, his legs touch the ground. Nabi Abbas now proceeds to the Furat, but he feels that there is someone following him. He turns back and he sees Imam Hussein coming, and he is following Janab Abbas. My dear brothers, there are two instances in Karbala when Imam followed the Shaheed. One, Janab Abbas, then Janab Ali Akbar, because he couldn't let them go to die, and Imam Hussein was following them. Yet Imam Janab Abbas, he came from the horse, and brothers hugged each other and they cried. And Janab Abbas proceeded towards the Furat. He proceeded, and the army that was there, 4,000 men, they saw Janab Abbas coming. They wanted to stop him from going to Furat, but Janab Abbas fouled, and he defended himself with the neza he had on him, and he killed 80 men, and then he sent them to the hell. He proceeded, he scattered the army of Yazid. He proceeded, he went into Furat, and then he took the water skin which was dry. He first let it soak in the Furat, and then he filled the water skin with such care that he did not even let his finger touch the water. He took the water skin, he placed it on his shoulder, and he started to go back to the tent. And the army that scattered once started to gather, and they all formed a circle around Janab Abbas, and from all sides they started to strike, and they used the arrows. In Maqtal says that it was raining arrows in the Maqtal, and Janab Abbas was defending and fighting and moving towards the tent. He raises raises his head to the sky and says, "Oh Allah, I am taking this water for the children of Imam Hussein, please help me." And he is striving to go to the tent in this manner that the Yazid's army started to shrink the circle, and there was no way that he could leave. He was trying to cut the circle, but he could not. But Zaid bin Baha, behind the tree, he was hiding behind the tree, and he strikes the right arm of Janab Abbas. He puts his right hand with this quick response. Janab Abbas takes the mush and he puts it onto his left shoulder, and he says, "Oh people, you think after severing my arm, you think you was going to stop me from serving my Imam, but you cannot stop me from doing so." He proceeds, he fights in this way that one moment Zaid bin Baha did this, and Hakam bin Tufail strikes another on his left arm. Janab Abbas takes the mush and holds it by his steed, and he's still trying to strive to go to the tents of Imam Hussein. And then there is an arrow that strikes the mush. The water starts to pour. It did not just pour the water, and Janab Abbas lost his hope, and now his prayer, "Oh Allah, do not take me to the tent, for I am embarrassed that I couldn't carry water for Sakina." And he puts his hand on the sea, and he let the army strike. Everybody was striking him from all over, and then this man comes forward and he says, "Oh Abbas, I've heard that you are very valiant, and Abbas, I want to see your valor." He said, "Oh Lain, where were you when my hands were severed? I would have answered you well." Hearing the response, he raises the iron club and strikes his head. His head is split open, and he couldn't balance himself on the horse. The Nabi Abbas falls and says, "Ya Aba Abdullah, alayka minni salam." But there was Qayamat. Every shaheed that falls on the ground, first he puts his hand to support his fall. But Qayamat is here when Janab Abbas had no hands, when he fell on the ground on his cheek. Imam Hussein heard this voice, or say, "Oh Abbas, my back is broken." Imam goes to the Mahtal. He stops on his way. He picks up something. He kisses it and he puts it in his abba. He proceeds and he then picks up another thing and he kisses it and puts it in his abba. I ask Mawla, "What are you carrying?" Imam is carrying the arms of the Nabi Abbas. The Janab al-Zahra is going to present on the day of judgment. Imam reaches his brother and he sees his brother is wounded, and there is an arrow in one eye, there's blood in the other eye. Nabi Abbas says, "Oh Mawla, when I first came into this world, the first person I saw was you. Mawla, I am departing from this world, but I want to see you. But there is blood in my eye." Imam cleans the eye. The Nabi Abbas looks at Imam Hussein, and Imam Hussein says, "Oh brother, all your life you called me your master, but you did not call me your brother." He says, "Mawla, how can I call you my brother? Yes, we are brother from our father, but Mawla, my mother Ummul Baneen is the servant of your mother Fatima al-Zahra." Imam said, "Oh Abbas, please call me brother for once." The Nabi Abbas says, "Akhi, oh my brother." And Imam Hussein, the Nabi Abbas leaves Imam Hussein, and Imam Hussein cries, "Wa Abbasa, Wa Abbasa, Wa."
Hussein, Ya Hussein, Ya Hussein, Ya Hussein, Ya Hussein.
یہ تیری زینب لوٹ کے آئی، خون بھرا کرتا بھائی کا لائی، کس طرح نانا میں بتاؤں یہ، نہ بچا غازی نہ بچا بھائی، کیا کیا بتاؤں میں نانا، کربل میں کیسے لٹا گھر، کیا کیا بتاؤں میں نانا، کربل میں کیسا لٹا گھر، رو رو کے زینب پکاری نانا کے روزے پہ جا کر، کیا کیا بتاؤں میں نانا، کربل میں کیسے لٹا گھر، پیلے سے میں نے یہ منظر خود اپنے آنکھوں سے دیکھا، تیروں کے جب درمیان میں بھائی کا لاشا پڑا تھا، گردن پہ آہستہ ظالم ہنس کے چلاتا تھا خنجر، کیا کیا بتاؤں میں نانا، کربل میں کیسے لٹا گھر، کڑیل جواں میرا اکبر دم توڑتا تھا زمین پر، حلقوم پر تیر کھا کر خاموش تھا ننھا اصغر، کربل میں ماں فاطمہ کا ایک پل میں اجڑا بھرا گھر، کیا کیا بتاؤں میں نانا، کربل میں کیسے لٹا گھر، مشکی سا جب چھٹ گیا تب عباس کی آس ٹوٹی، بازو قلم ہو گئے اور زمین سے گرا میرا غازی، مقتل میں لاشا پڑا اور آیا علم خون میں تر، کیا کیا بتاؤں میں نانا، کربل میں کیسے لٹا گھر، شام غریبہ کا منظر بھولوں گی میں نہ کبھی بھی، خیمے جلے سب ہمارے سر سے ردا چھن گئی تھی، حد ہے کہ چھینا گیا تھا بیمار عابد کا بستر، کیا کیا بتاؤں میں نانا، کربل میں کیسے لٹا گھر، 12 گلے ایک رسن میں بوڑھے جوان سب بندھے تھے، بے پردہ تھی بنت زہرا، بازار سارے سجے تھے، کئی بار گرتا زمین پر نیزے سے عباس کا سر، کیا کیا بتاؤں میں نانا، کربل میں کیسے لٹا گھر، اماں کے تنہا بھی میں نے لال اپنے دونوں لٹائے، بابا کے تنہا بھی خنجر خطبوں کے میں نے جلائے، بازار میں یوں پھری ہوں چادر کو اپنی لٹا کر، کیا کیا بتاؤں میں نانا، کربل میں کیسے لٹا گھر، نانا میں نہ لا سکی ہوں بھیا کی وہ ایک امانت، ویران زندان جس کی آئے ہوئی تھی شہادت، دامن بھی اس کا جلا اور ظالم نے چھینے تھے گوہر، کیا کیا بتاؤں میں نانا،
عليك يا أبا عبد الله. السلام عليك يا ابن رسول الله. السلام عليك يا سائر الشهداء كربلاء، خصوصا سيدي ومولاي أبي الفضل العباس ابن أمير المؤمنين. السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته. السلام عليك يا غريب الغرباء. السلام عليك يا معين الزرفاء والفقراء. سلطان يا أبا الحسن يا علي بن موسى أيها الرزاق. السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته. السلام عليك يا على محمد صلى الله عليه وآله وسلم. السلام عليك يا صاحب الزمان. السلام عليك يا خليفة الرحمن. السلام عليك يا إمام الإنس والجان. أجل الله تعالى فرجك، وجعل الله تعالى مخرجك. السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته.
اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد. MashaAllah. They make sure.
Okay.